Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome to our 7th week 4th session. We are discussing marketing communication, or what we call integrated marketing communication strategy. Yesterday I concluded with this particular slide where which is taken from Kotler's book, which actually we went through this whole chart and looked at different forms of marketing communication like advertising, sales promotion, events and experiences, public relations and publicity, online and social media marketing, then mobile marketing, direct and database marketing, and lastly personal selling. Today we would like to look at some theoretical models associated with communication in general, and then we will discuss some important theoretical understandings about marketing communication to give you a deeper understanding of why we do certain things the way we do it in our marketing communication process deployment. So, first we are going to look at a macro model of the communication process. This is a model for human communication process. It not only applies to marketing communication, but to communication in general, whether it is communication in the classroom or communication between you and me happening right at this moment, or any occasion of human communication. So, this model shows that there are two sides, sender and receiver. So, whether in this case I am the sender, you are the receiver. It could be in the class the teacher is the sender and somebody else is the receiver. When you are communicating with your friends, you are the sender, your friends are the receiver. So, in marketing communication, whether through an advertisement or through an advertorial or in the social media or on the TV ad or in the print ad, we have the sender, that is the organization, the company, the marketer. Now, to communicate the message, it will be encoded. Like for example, right now my message is encoded in my spoken words, in my body language. In the same way, an advertising message will be encoded in the text of the message, in the spoken words, in the way it is dramatized, the body language of the actors involved in the TV clip and so on. Then that encoded is the message which is transmitted over a media. In this case, you are actually the media is the internet, and the audio video communication is coming to you over that media. Now, when it reaches you, you will be decoding it. So, even when you are sending a letter to your friend, then you have encoded it as a written letter or as an email, then you have transmitted it over post or over internet or over a text message on the phone, and then at the receiving end the person will decode it. And there is this whole aspect of noise, and then from the receiver there will be some response feedback which will go back to the sender. Now, because human beings are involved on this side, human beings are involved on this side, human beings are involved here, there are a number of interpretations that can happen, number of subjective lens as we call it. So, what you want to say and what will be decoded and understood by the receiver, understand that there will always be a gap. It is very, very difficult to have 100% transmission, however close may be the relation. So, whether it is face to face or over internet or over the TV channel, understand that messages as intended by the sender will never be decoded in the same way by the receiver. There will be some loss, some distortion due to subjective perception at both ends because of the receipt of the human beings. Even the response that is going back to the sender can make a lot of difference the way that feedback is received. So, it can be a constructive feedback, or if it is actually sent in an adversarial manner, if it is sent in a hostile manner, the sender may not be able to may not use it properly. And on top of all of that distortion between the sending and the receiving, there is this whole disturbance due to noise. So, when you are watching the TV and you are also munching something, or you are sitting and you are chatting on the side with some family member, or you are listening to an ad on the radio, but at the same time you are driving, or you are reading something on the hoarding and talking to and you are passing by in a bus and you are talking to your co-passenger. So, you see that talking to the co-passenger while you are reading the ad on the hoarding is a noise as far as the message being beamed through the hoarding is concerned. On the other hand, the communication between you and your co-passenger, in that case you are reading the hoarding, is a noise. So, our communications are often simultaneous and multilateral, and as a result the bilateral communications are often subject to noise coming from the other bilateral communication process, because it is always getting as we say multiplexed. So, we are doing multitasking, as all human beings do multitasking. So, while you are actually shaving, you are listening to the radio and there is an ad on the radio. So, you are shaving and you are listening to that ad, each acts as the noise for the other, and there will be additional distortion besides this distortion due to perception at both ends. So, you can see therefore that communication is not an easy process, and to have a complete fidelity of communication from this side to that side is always quite tough, and that is why there is lot of science and art in creating good marketing communication. These are some models for the response hierarchy. This is at the micro stage we are trying to understand what happens in marketing communication. Now, the first one, this one, the so called famous IDA model, which is it says that that any marketing communication goes through these three stages: cognitive stage, affective stage and behavior stage. Cognitive means where actually the appeal is to the rational self of the receiver, and the message also highlights the rational, logical, utilitarian, practical, factual aspects of the marketing communication part. But it also is interpreted, and this is the affective stage, where the desire, interest and desire are created through perceptions. So, at this stage, to draw attention, we often use facts, we often use science, we often use technical terms, we often used certain kilometers per liter or all that kind of information. But here it actually to create desire, that is a emotional thing, and we have to pay attention to the type of product and the type of interest and desire. So, at this stage will be quite different for buying of biscuits versus buying of a car. And then of course, this whole action stage means where you are actually wanting the purchase action is different in different cases, because here buying a packet of bubble gums can be just a last minute decision, and that is why bubble gums or chocolates etc. are stored at the checkout point of the supermarket, whereas some high value items people will have both logical processing as well as emotional processing. So, that will happen differently. The IDA model actually was proposed in 1925 by E.K. Strong, and it is still a very popular model, very easy to understand and very powerful. There are some further improvements which have happened over the year. For example, in 1961 this was proposed that this is slight improvement, or rather it goes into little bit detail at each stage. So, it is now understood that attention per se should not be confused with awareness. So, you somebody might know that you have a product for say shaving foam product, but that awareness is not enough ultimately to cause purchase. So, you need to actually also transmit through your marketing communication, transmit knowledge that Gillette shaving cream is has many better features or has many natural aspects and avoids harmful chemicals, and you can be sure about your skin health when you are using it, as opposed to some other local brands which might be competing. So, if you are an incumbent or a market leader like Gillette, then you will have to have lot of emphasis on this knowledge creation, so that new upcoming products will find a barrier. Your communication will create a barrier for your upcoming competitors. So, awareness must lead to knowledge about your product, the superiority of your products, the high points, the unique points about your product, so that you have some liking which leads to preference and conviction. So, you can see, therefore, somebody may come up now with say a new herbal shaving cream which has no chemicals, whereas Gillette also is a age old well established product, its safety etc. are well proven. So, there will be a battle which will be fought here and has to come through this stage, where the existing majority liking, preference and conviction for Gillette will have to be challenged using knowledge about the new product which is based on herbal natural ingredients, so that you can alter the liking, preference, conviction, and ultimately so that the new product is purchased in preference to the incumbent product. So, this hierarchy of effects model is an improvement over, or a more detailed with respect to IDA, and these sort of remain very staple, always used configuration to design marketing communication, particularly in the case of advertising, be it on TV or be it on through print or be it through over the net. This model proposed by E.V. Rogers, this also happened in early 60s, is extremely important for innovation adoption model. So, this is actually used for new products. This is very important for to understand diffusion of new products, adoption of new products. So, famous Rogers model. Here is this awareness level remains the same, but here interest and evaluation, there is similarity, but what Rogers has then proposed in much more detail, that you have to give opportunity to the target consumer to try. So, trialability and to some extent backward compatibility or familiarity with the way that product was earlier used. So, if you come up with a digital camera, the human interface, the man machine interface will have to remain as far as possible backward compatible. So, you cannot completely come up with a new type of clicking mechanism. So, you will see if you take an old camera and there is a shutter, and if you take a latest digital camera there will be a shutter. You will often see even a digital camera which is on your phone, when you click for the photo, there is a sound which is the like the old shutter sound of the original mechanical cameras, and that shutter sound is deliberately given so that at this stage there is a backward compatibility for the comfort of the user. And also any new product, whether food and beverage product or any new type of, say, a phone or camera, there is a lot of emphasis on giving trial opportunity. So, new cars are given for test drive to target customers. There are lecture demonstrations shows for new TVs or new washing machines. There are trial at the mall for new soup flavor or for a new type of coffee or tea flavor. So, this awareness, interest and evaluation based on trialability, based on backward compatibility, based on clear visible differentiation and advantage communicated to the customer will finally lead to adoption through trial. So, at this stage therefore, all these things like clear visible uniqueness, clear visible advantage must be created. So, there is interest and an interest to evaluate, which leads to trial and then to adoption. So, there is there are subtle differences between the hierarchy of effects model and the innovation adoption model. Those of you who are interested, and particularly those of you who are entrepreneurial or thinking of creating a new business or new product launch in the marketplace, please do read up more about the Rogers model. There are lots of material available on the net, and do read up about cases, etc. A more detailed model which can be, you say, actually this is derived from various sources. It is kind of a composite of all these models, and this you can say is now the most accepted and practiced marketing communication model, where we are looking at exposure, reception by the receiver and the cognitive response, and that definitely therefore this exposure, reception, cognitive response means we are actually looking at this message, decoding, receiver and response, this part of the communication process. And then we are looking at this attitude formation, intention, driven to intention, which is something similar to the interest and evaluation or liking to conviction. Attitude, then the intention formation, intention means intention for purchase leading to purchase. There are different behavioral issues relating to the purchase itself, which perhaps we will discuss in another session, the consumer behavior at the purchase point. But at this moment we are discussing about communication, and our role is to, in communication our role is to stimulate interest so that an attitude is formed which creates an intention of purchase. How having understood these different theoretical models for the response hierarchy or what happens actually in the marketing communication, we can now discuss how we will deploy. So, the deployment will happen that it is quite similar to the segmentation, targeting and positioning that we have discussed in general in case of marketing. So, identify your target audience, this is the segmentation, and in this is then you set what marketing objectives. Are you trying to sustain interest of for an existing product which is already a leading product, you are just trying to maintain the or sustain the current interest level, or you are trying to create new interest for a new product, or you are trying to interest in your product from a market segment which earlier was not buying your product. So, maybe you have been selling snacks, and so people who were health conscious were not buying your product. Now, you have come up with a healthy natural snacks based on it's non-fried, non-fat, very low in cholesterol, and so you are trying to therefore identify a new target audience, and your objective is to be set that you are trying to attract them to at least try your new product. Accordingly, you will design your communication and select channels. So, in this new snack product we were talking about, which is a healthy alternative to the conventional namkeen snacks, your objective is therefore to appeal to the health conscious customers, and your communication and channel, suppose you are maybe you are doing TV ad as well as then to reinforce the TV ad. So, one exposure of TV followed by several exposure through the print media. So, a person sees the ads on TV, and the next day morning when he or she opens the newspaper, they see reminder ads. So, through different channels you will design the communication to appeal to the health conscious customers, and your objective is to at least make them try your product. So, remember that as we discussed, marketing communication can bring the customer up to this point. Marketing communication cannot, there will be many a slip between the cup and the lip. So, after trial, final adoption, or after conviction, final purchase, there are other things that happen at the point of sale where the final purchase happens. But in marketing communication, if we can bring the customer up to this point, if we can create the desire after the evaluation, then we have done our job well. So, that is what we want to achieve by target audience, set objective, design communication, select channels. Of course, then we have to have some budget, and then based on the budget we will do the media mix. If we are a new company startup, we do not have the money to go to the TV always, unless we are venture funded and we are going for the big bang. But otherwise, we may often, entrepreneurs will often use, as I discussed earlier, the advertorial approach, the press conference and that sort of relationship based approach, and they will be looking for news items where the product will be talked about. So, your media mix will depend on your budget. You will go for a big national exposure, or you will go for a regional, or you go for a one metro exposure based on your overall marketing objectives, communication objectives here, and your budget. And based on that, you will measure your results and manage integrated marketing communication through this whole process. And measure results are done in various ways. For example, in print ads, you can give coupons, giving the customer a little bit of discount, or some opportunity to participate in some raffle, or give some gift if the customer comes with the coupon for buying the product. Accordingly, you will know that which newspapers produce the maximum coupons which came back for purchase occasion, or which regions had the maximum response. So, different measurements can be made by using coupons or by using during the TV show when products are part of the reality show, then how many people call back, how many people comment on the social media on the goodness or badness of the product. These are all different types of measurements, and we often then therefore integrate this sort of return direct action from the consumer as a part of the communication process. This is now in words what I was saying: identify the target audience, set the communication objective. You have to understand, of course, the communication objectives must be based on facts. That means the need for the category, the current brand situation, what kind of brand attitude is existing and what kind of brand attitude you want to improve upon or create newly, and all that. So, brand, as we had discussed before, at that time also we discussed that how close it is with this marketing communication deployment, and that is what we are discussing on this slide. So, I will take up tomorrow the next part, which is the creative strategy in marketing communication and how it should be linked to the message strategy and message source. We will discuss that tomorrow. Thank you.